Okay, there we go. Good evening, everyone. It's Monday, November 20th, 6:35 p.m. I'm going to call this meeting of the Development and Government Relations Committee of the City Council to order. We are being recorded. We're on the public access station. We're being recorded on Zoom and live streamed on the city's website. Thank you, everyone, for being here this evening. We are joined by committee members, Councilor David Bartley, Councilor Jenny Rivera, and Council Chambers. Councilor McGivern's on his way. And we are also joined on Zoom tonight by Councilor Linda Vacan.
Good evening.
Thank you so much. And then in addition, we're joined by Councilor Will Puelo and several folks this evening who are here for various public hearings. So before we get started, because we are hybrid and we have I'll entertain a motion to take a roll call vote.
So moved.
That for the purposes of this meeting would be applicable to all motions to remove an item from the table, place items on the table, package items, open or close a public hearing, or suspend the rules unless there is an objection. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Did I need to do?
Still a roll call vote, that's it.
Okay. Councilor Bartley?
Yes.
Councilor Murphy-Ramboletti, yes. Councilor Rivera?
Yes.
Councilor Vacan?
Yes.
Great.
And I'll make a motion to take item 1 off the table and open the public hearing.
Motion to take item 1. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So this is, for item 1 is a public hearing that's been continued several times. This is the special permit application of Salmar Realty LLC for a special permit for a proposed coffee shop and drive-through restaurant at South Street Plaza, a portion of 209 South Street. We were contacted today, that we were asked by the applicant to continue the public hearing until they have all the information that they need. So I'll entertain a motion to continue this public hearing.
Just point of order, Madam Chair.
Yes,
You still need to see if the public.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
Is anyone from the public here this evening in attendance for this special permit hearing?
Okay, I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing to a date certain. I think the chair has scheduled something for December.
We do have a meeting scheduled for Monday, December 18th.
So my motion to continue this public hearing.
Madam Chair,
Yep.
just to know, in their letter, they asked that it be continued to January.
Yeah, Jeff, we know.
Okay.
So Jeff, we're on it. I'll make a motion to continue to the 18th of December at 6:30 p.m.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in
Just under discussion, I guess, real quick. So Jeff makes an excellent point, as did the chair earlier, but right now, let's just kick the can down the road because we don't have committees set for next year. You know, you can't just flip it to some unknown date because we don't know who's going to chair this. We don't know what's going to happen with committees. So we'll have to figure it out on the 18th at some point. My guess, if I may, would be probably to continue it to a date certain where ordinance would meet in January, so just have it go to that date, and then at that date they'll continue it to, because hopefully the committees will be formed by then, and then an ordinance can you can have a DGR meeting like 5 minutes before the ordinance, right, and then continue to a date certain in once the committee's set. That's just my 2 cents. Thank you.
I'm open to that. That's fine. So we had a second. All those in favor, I'll do a roll call vote.
Oh, yes.
Councilor Bartley?
Yes.
Councilor Vacan?
Yes.
Councilor Rivera?
Yes.
Councilor Murphy-Ramboletti? Yes. So we voted to approve that we will continue that to December 18th, and we'll figure out what's going on a little later.
Very nice. I'll make a motion to take number 2 off the table and open a public hearing.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Item number 2 is a public hearing for the special permit application of Delfina Saillant, per 7.2.9 to convert the basement into a livable studio space at 20 Pearl Street. And I do believe we have the applicants here. Come on in. You want to welcome? You can actually, do you want to come in and sit down?
Yeah, why don't you do that? Just make it like easy.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah, that seat's for you, champ. We're joined in council chambers by Councilor McGivern. All right.
What's up, y'all?
We are on item 2. Oh, you were listening. Okay, just looking out. All right, welcome. Hi. And then just make sure that the green button is on when you're talking. Good. So tonight we will, we'd love to hear a little bit about what you are hoping to do. We have your application here. For those watching, it's the third, it's a special permit application for the 3rd dwelling unit in an existing 2-family. And the application mentions you plan to convert the basement into a livable space, a studio. And so we have some information here about the project that you intend to do. And what we're going to be following is section 7.2.9. So for us as a city council, there's just going to be some things that we're looking for in your plans, just to make sure that it contributes to the neighborhood, it doesn't cause any major disruption. So that's kind of what we're here for tonight.
All right.
Okay.
I'm here just as the interpreter or just the figurehead for my parents. It's Delfina and Zachary.
Microphone.
Oh,
Sorry about that. Just not close enough. Sorry about that.
Jeff, has it come through?
is it coming through?
It's hard to hear.
Maybe we.
Oh, and
Test.
is that better?
Is that better, Linda?
If they're not answering me, then
Is he close enough to the mic?
Yeah, he is. Maybe. Do you want to sit at that table? Sorry.
There you go.
That sounds better. Yeah. Sorry about that.
no problem. All right. I'm here just to represent my parents. They're sitting behind me, Delfina and Raphael. They are trying to basically retire. They've sold their home in Lynn a few years ago and bought a house out in Holyoke. But the tenants are also in the same condition where they're retiring. They don't feel comfortable kicking them out under any conditions. So they just feel there's a space in the basement. They like the neighborhood. They're there all the time cleaning up and just maintaining the property themselves. And it feels almost right for them to find a space to live on the property themselves.
Okay. Sorry. Yep. All right. I have some papers here. I'm gonna. I see Councilor Vacan has her hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I looked over the application and I was just wondering if we've heard from the fire department relative to the safety aspects of being able to get in and out of that space.
Great question. In our packet, I don't see anything. I do see that it was sent to the, as usual, the planning board, the health department, the building department, the fire department. Jeffrey, correct me if I'm wrong, but I didn't see any communication
No,
one way
they
or
did
the other.
not. They did not pass anything.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the only question I had. I think it looks really nice, but I just wondered about that.
That's fair. Okay. Councilor McGivern.
Just one question. On the existing lot, how much off-street parking is there?
There's currently, I think we mapped it out. I don't have the packet with me, unfortunately. But we mapped it out. There should be enough for 7 cars. There's 150 feet ¿Cuántos pies fue de atrás? 140. 140 feet from the beginning of the property to the back. There is a shed, but if we currently have enough space where the shed could just be moved, then we could just put another 2 lots of asphalt.
Okay. I'm kind of, it's part of what eventually the occupancy permit, you know, in the fire department, all that stuff will be, not so much, we like to know what's going on, but, you know, we're just giving permission for this to happen, and then there's still a lot of other codes and
Right.
rules and regs that have to be lived up to. And one of them is the amount of off-street parking for the amount of dwelling units. It sounds like for 2 plus a studio apartment, 7 would be sufficient, but I just wanted, and I think there may be some neighbors that are listening or are here tonight that, you know, will want to speak about that too.
Right.
But, thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Councilor Bartley?
Yeah, I'll have a series of questions, but I guess before I do that, can we open up to the public? Because if Councilor McGivern's right, I'd rather hear from the public first before I ask my questions.
Absolutely. And then following that, I will, there's a couple of comments that Jeffrey gave me right before this meeting that I want to make sure to read into the record as well.
You want to read those in first, Madam Chair?
Yeah, actually, one of them is from an abutter. So,
Okay, name and address and.
So, related to item number 2, Wanda LaCroix, 251 Pleasant Street, stated in a phone call that she has no issue with the owners of 20 Pearl Street converting their basement into a livable studio space. And then the zoning officer, Davin, he said on page 6 of the 20 Pearl Street conversion application, there's some math that insinuates the owners would be required to have 8 spaces, but that formula doesn't apply here. As a 2-family home, they are required to have 4 spaces, but they are supposed to provide an additional 2 spaces with the conversion to a 3-family home. This means 6 total spaces are required. However, City Council can decrease that requirement to 1 additional space, meaning 5 total spaces would be required. Since this is a studio apartment, I believe that decrease is valid. So that's the comments related to that, and I'm going to pause and see if there's anyone from the public here in the audience related to this special permit for 20 Pearl Street. And I'm not seeing anyone online. Okay. Counselor?
Okay, so nice to have you here, and to your mom and dad, thank you. I'm just noticing on pages 7, 8, and 9, the lawyer for this sold it to you is yours truly. So it actually has some helpful information in here on the property deed as I represented the seller. And one of the requirements you'll see in the ordinance is pretty well laid out. It says that you need to have, that the parcel has to be at least 6,000 square feet. And in this case, you have 7,075 square feet, because it says it right on the legal description in the deed. So you check that box, so you got that covered, so that's good news. In terms of the off-street parking, I do concur with, Madam Chair, what's the title?
Davin?
What's his title, Madam?
The zoning officer.
Zoning officer.
I heard that one.
Okay, that's a new one, zoning officer.
Probably about a year.
Okay, all right. Zoning officer. Is there an ordinance on that? All right, so that's, I do agree with the zoning officer on that part. I think everything the zoning officer said is spot on, so I'm going to agree with that. The other part here is relative to your architect, and it looks like, but I want to make sure that I'm seeing this right, it looks like you engage the services of Realigned Design, Inc.?
Yes.
Okay, and Realigned is an architectural firm?
Yes.
Okay, and since I only have a schematic, oh, wow, maybe that's, wow, that's their, That is really small. No, that's your address. Who are they? Where are they from? So
I have their address out of Agawam.
in Agawam?
Yeah.
Okay. And they're licensed in the Commonwealth?
I believe so. He says that he is not licensed.
Who's
He
not
works with
licensed?
somebody that is. And once they need, he told me once they need the license,
The stamp
yeah, then he would come in and,
or the seal?
yeah.
Yeah, so I'll put that in as when we make a motion, because it's pretty clear in the ordinance that it has to be approved by a licensed architect.
Right.
You know, as a chair, as you heard the chair say, there should be a stamp on there. So that anything we do will have contingent upon that stamp being presented to us in a timely fashion before we vote. Okay.
All right.
All right. So there's that, and I know it's zoned R2 because it is a two-family, so it hits that court. So in my opinion, this the only thing left to debate is whether this permit doesn't cause substantial detriment to the public. And I think we heard from one butter anyhow, and we didn't hear from anybody else. And the one butter seems like she's good to go.
Yeah.
So it seems to me as if you hit all four of the criteria in the ordinance. And I don't know who wrote this ordinance, the city council way back when, but they did a beautiful job because it's super duper clear how they laid this out. And sometimes these things are really confusing, but this one is actually good. So in my opinion, I'm good with it, and I'll make a motion, if the chair wants to entertain it, to close the public hearing.
Is there a second? Any discussion?
Do we ask for people in chambers?
Yeah.
Are they sleeping?
Maybe.
Madam Chair, the only thing I'm just going to say is, if I could, before I do that, it says in the ordinance, the building commissioner shall review plans and within 20 days submit to the council any recommendations he may have. So, do we have anything from the building commissioner? Well, we have something from the zoning person.
It was sent to the building department from the city clerk, but
Yeah, I think we're okay with this because it says shall review, which I'm sure he did, and within 20 days submit to the city council any recommendations.
Yeah.
Well, if he doesn't have any recommendations, then
I think we're good.
so be it. I
Yeah.
think we got to cover. But you might want to have Jeff just ask Mr. Lagimonier just to verify that he's on board with this, and he can always send a communication to us for tomorrow if he so chooses.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to renew my motion to close the public hearing.
All those in favor?
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
I'm going to make a motion to recommend that the city council approve the special permit with the condition I just discussed about having the architect sign off on this, and that has to be in hand by tomorrow's meeting. Can't, if we don't have it by tomorrow, then this is going to get
Yeah, we
delayed.
have a meeting tomorrow night at 7 for the full council. So
Oh, within 24 hours. All right.
do you think you can get it? If not, we'll just table it tomorrow and we can do it in the meeting in December.
Ooh,
So-
I'd rather table it and for me to make sure.
Okay, that's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
And so the other thing I was just gonna double check, do we wanna do we need a motion for the parking decrease by one spot, or is that a separate?
I don't even know if he's got plenty of parking on there, so you don't
Okay.
even need to.
All right, just wanted to make sure we're good on that. Is there a second on the motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved.
You have to do roll call.
Oh, we do have to do roll call. Sorry, hybrid. Counselor Bartley?
Yes.
Counselor McGivern?
Yes.
Counselor Bacon?
Yes.
Counselor Rivera?
Yes.
Counselor Murphy-Ramboletti, yes. The motion passes, and so we will vote to approve that 5-0, contingent upon a sealed architect, and we can always just table it tomorrow.
To what date?
That our next meeting, our next full meeting after tomorrow is December 5th,
Okay.
I believe.
All right then.
Jeffrey can follow up.
All right then.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
Okay.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. I'll make a motion to take item 3 off the table and open the public hearing.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item number 3 is the public hearing for a special permit application of Zachary Bruneau, sorry, per section 4.7.3, non-conforming to rebuild an old garage on the same footprint at 15 Brookline Avenue. We are joined this evening by the applicant and the homeowners. So Zachary, if you want to come in, or if you all want to come in, you're welcome to. I mean, you're good.
Exciting stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Local government. All right, so thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We talked a little bit about what the process is like. So very similar to before. We're here to just learn more about what you guys are planning to do. Your application seems very straightforward.
Yeah, this is a simple matter.
Just come up to the microphone.
Oh, yeah, and make sure the
I want you to be
green-
comfortable, but they need to hear you.
Make sure the green button's
No,
on.
it's lit.
Okay.
So it was a matter of a garage that was in use but in disrepair, that was to be remodeled. I was given a building permit by Mr. Lodgemonier from the building department, and to initially just sort of repair it. And in trying to do so, we noticed that it was just too far gone. So we tore the thing down. I went to go talk to Kevin about the options of what I ought to do with footings and stem walls and just the issues with the concrete. And that's when he had referred me over to Davin with the zoning department and notified me that I'd have to, go through this process. It's the reason for it being a non-conforming structure would be by way of setbacks. I believe it was supposed to be, basically there's 4 garages that are all sort of kitty-cornered up to each other, and they're all about 2 feet apart from each other within a square, 2 next to each other, 2 behind them. And that was before they had zoned it for the setbacks that are existing, where it's 5 feet from the side and then 8 feet from the rear. So, but we don't intend to change the footprint. From what I understand, the abutting property owners are either haven't made any sort of fuss or are for it, and frankly, it's just a matter of building something that was there for a significant period of time and making it better, and it had never fallen out of use. I understand there was like some sort of regulation where if it had been out of use for more than 2 years, it might be a different issue, but they had been using it up until the moment we tore it down, so
Okay, great.
that's about it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Councilor McGivern?
Thank you. Zach, you're saying the only reason you were told it's not conforming is because it doesn't meet the current setback criteria,
That's what I was,
which
That's what I'm
was set
thinking of, yep.
through zoning and codes after this house and garage was built.
yeah, the house is built somewhere in the 20s, and I think the garage came maybe in the 50s, but it was all pre existing zoning laws, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's just one of those things where
And
as soon as we ripped it down,
it's a garage used for storage, parking cars and so forth, and it's been continuing.
all of the above, yeah.
Yeah, so I have no problem voting for this, but this doesn't have to be in front of us. This is not a non-conforming, it is non-conforming, but it's because you want to rebuild.
Right.
But the issue isn't the use, the issue is the setback.
Correct.
That's a simple thing of going to the Board of Variance and getting a hardship variance, which should be a no-brainer.
Yeah, and that was the whole, and I like to be on record that I having been a contractor for a number of years, I enjoy working in Holyoke and everybody in the building department, and I felt like this was once like it became an issue, I'm like, how is this? Like, I feel like I'm wasting everybody's time, and especially the homeowners, and and that it could have been very.
It's a simple fix.
Yeah.
I take it you're using the same pad. There's a concrete pad.
Yeah. Well, it'll be on the same footprint, but we're going to redo the pad.
Okay,
Dig
but
out
but
the
you know,
footage, put new ones.
the hardship is moving the pad.
Yeah.
And so the hardship is just it's existing, in use. I would think the neighbors would not be upset because it's there.
It had been there. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just, to me, it's just a board of appeals and a variance hardship, but that's just my
Right.
opinion.
Yeah, but here we are. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's more than okay.
Other counselors?
Oh, I will. I just want to hear from the public first.
Sure, absolutely. Is there anyone tonight in person or online that is here specifically for this special permit? I do have something that was emailed to us related to this item. So Henry Decker, he lives at 18 to 20 Brookline Ave, stated in an email, I own 18 to 20 Brookline Ave, and I am in line of sight to the proposed rebuilding of a garage at 15 Brookline Ave. I foresee no negative impact, and I welcome the investment in the neighborhood. And that's all I have, and I don't see anyone here.
I was hoping they wouldn't be lined up in droves.
No, they're not. Not tonight, anyway. Councilor Bartley.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm going to concur with everything that's been said, except for the fact that if this has been deemed to be a non-conforming, then so be it. I'm not sure if that's the building commissioner does that in consultation with the law department or whatever. So
That's exactly what it was.
yeah, okay. So I'm going to go with the non-conforming. The fact is that this is going to be reconstructed on the same footprint. Our main task as a city council and a special permit, and I like special permits, frankly. We're the ones that make the vote whether there's going to be any substantial impact to the neighborhood. Now, we just heard from the one abutter similar to the prior
Yep.
petitioner, and the one abutter seemed to be good to go. So who am I to say anything otherwise? And if anybody else wanted to come down here, they could have.
Right.
So, and I don't know if, I don't think I want to, I'm going to make a motion, but before I do it, I don't think I can motion to require it to be, well, actually, I probably could, but you're sure it's going to be on the same footprint. That's what you're telling the public, right?
Yeah, we had because there was two existing operating garage doors, and wanting to keep those, we had tried to basically they wanted to keep the same dimension of the garage, and we tried to move it around to where, basically to have it be within what the zoning laws require would make it to where it would be impossible to park two vehicles in it, and like thus making the garage almost out of use, at least half of it for what they need it for. So that's why we decided to go ahead with this as opposed to just amending my building permit and building it elsewhere on the property. So we're on the same footprint. There was a series of footings underneath that because I believe it might be the third garage that's there, at least the second. And so all the concrete that was existing we took out. We intend to pour new stem walls, a new reinforced pad, and there is a conduit line running into the basement for electrical service, and that was fine. Doesn't need to be. We're only making the thing better.
Yeah, and then in terms of water runoff from the roof, where does that go? I mean,
So I think initially there had been a gutter on the front and a gutter on the rear. The pitch and performance of the gutters had been fine, never were an issue in the past, and So
Okay, so-
it's just a spillway onto the.
Yeah, I appreciate your comment earlier, but certainly this is no waste of time whatsoever. It is not a waste of time. Now, I always consider this to be like a good potential civics lesson.
Yeah.
I think the petitioners passed civics a long time ago, and so but to come back in the city council and to see that we actually exist, I always think that's good for the public to do that.
Yeah,
So,
no, and I agree.
end of my speech. So I'm going to make a motion that
Can
we.
I apologize. There was one more comment from Davin, who said related to 15 Brookline, there was a little confusion concerning 15 Brookline. A building permit was created a little prematurely, but the contractor is aware that the work shouldn't begin until the special permit is acquired, which is why we're here. So.
Beautiful. So I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So we need a roll call. So, and then I'll make a motion that we recommend granting the special permit.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Oh, wait, I'll do a roll call. Any discussion? Okay. I'll do a roll call. Counselor Bartley?
Yes.
Counselor McGivern?
Yes.
Counselor Rivera?
Yes.
Counselor Bacon?
Yes.
Counselor Murphy-Ramboletti? Yes. So the motion passed. We will be making this recommendation to approve the permit tomorrow night at our full city council meeting. Motion passed 5-0. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for
guys.
doing all the necessary steps. We appreciate it.
As long as it worked out.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Yep, come again. I'll make a motion that we take item 4 off the table and open the public hearing.
Your second? Right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item number 4 is the special permit application of O'Connell Professional Nurse Service, Inc., doing business as O'Connell Care at Home, per 8.4.0, which is the professional office overlay district, operate a professional office at 1763 Northampton Street. We're joined this evening by a representative from O'Connell Care at Home and the property owner. So I'd love to, you've kind of seen how this works now. If you'd like to come on in, and maybe try those 2 seats. We're just gonna not try that one for now. And then, yeah, make sure that the green light is on. You just have to push it once.
Got it.
Okay. So again, this is for the special permit for the professional office overlay district. And we have the application here, which just mentions that the offices will be going into the building at 1763. So if you want to just state your names and who you're with into the record and just, give us a little overview.
Sure. Good evening. Paul Gallagher, Gallagher Real Estate, Gallagher Properties. I'm the property owner. And
Danielle Lord, O'Connell Care at Home. So I run the business. And do you
you
want?
want to go first?
Sure. I'm
Okay, go ahead.
currently Paul's in that space. He bought the building next door, the Gus McLean building. So he would be moving out of his property, and we would be moving into that space, which is a current office.
So currently, I had obtained a special permit to operate the real estate brokerage there. I think it was back in 2004 or 5, and I've been there ever since. Improved the building, did exactly what the point of the overlay district was, to bring businesses in to fix up property like that. Now I've outgrown the size. I bought the building next door. We're moving next door, and O'Connell would like to come in. I meet the parking requirement because we have, I believe, 2, 4, 6, 8 spaces behind the building, the site plan given to you folks. And also I own the parking lot next door. So I'm giving them an additional 5 spaces over there that we can totally accommodate all parking matters. I believe Danielle has 4 employees at most that are there at a time, which is actually less than what I have, far less. So I think it'll be less busy and less congestion.
Great. Thank you. So first, I'll see if there's anyone from the public who is here this evening related to this special permit. Not seeing anyone in the chambers or online. So I'm going to see if counselors have questions or comments. Counselor McGivern.
More comments, because I think Paul did answer the question. Parking is always a big question. And Paul, you know, and I'm sure O'Connell now understands, but the overlay is unique. It's a unique part of this part of Northampton Street. It's very limited. The idea is protect the neighborhood outside of a building to continue to make it look residential, continue to be, you know, as friendly residential to people who are driving by, to people who live in the neighborhood, and at the same time protect the house, because many of these bigger homes, you know, were in state of disrepair, and people just weren't buying them and fixing them. So I think it's a good fit. I think I understand it. Understand O'Connell business is people will be more coming and going during the course of a day.
Yeah, and not really as much anymore. Everything's basically electronic, so all the aides that are out and about in the community, they don't really even come in that often. They get everything on their phone or whatnot, their schedules. So there's 3 people that are consistently in the office, like, that answer phones.
Times have changed.
Yeah.
For the better, right?
Yes, no paper.
So I with that in mind, that's, you know, my only comments are, you know, it makes sense and it fits. It's more of a special permit transfer, but we have to do this to make sure we know when there's a change of hands. So just off the record, on the record, just a question. You bought my old Dr. Levin Epstein office?
I sure did.
Yeah.
That was my pediatrician too back in the day.
We're
Same.
showing our age.
Same.
Or I think I'm showing my age more.
Dr. Stebbins.
Good for you.
Thank you.
And Dr. Stebbins. That's right. That's correct, yeah.
Counselor Bartley.
Okay, welcome, everybody. Just everything's through the chair, so I'm not going to say it through the chair every time, right? So, Paul, first off, did you say there were did you send plans to the planning board?
Yes, I dropped them off in the clerk's office, and I believe they were supposed to bring them to the planning department. I don't know if they ever got there.
Yes, I'm glad you asked this, Counselor Bartley.
Yeah.
They were not provided, as far as we know, for whatever reason, the planning department has not seen them. So I have not received a recommendation from the planning board yet. So that may be something we want to take into consideration, you know, to, as a condition, to get something from the planning board. But that's just my,
If I may?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to, well, since that's on before us right now, I'm going to address that particular comment.
Sure.
Yeah, we can't vote this out tonight. It cannot happen, because we have to get a recommendation from the planning board, and we have nothing at this stage, and there's no way we're going to get it tonight because we're meeting tomorrow. So ultimately, what we'll have to do tonight is table this to the meeting that you have in December, and then hopefully by that meeting you'll have what you have.
could we table it tomorrow in the full council meeting? And instead of waiting until the 19th, take it up on December 5th at the full council if it gets sent? Or that's just a suggestion.
Would be great.
Keep it moving forward, but
Frankly, I'd rather not, because then we have public, then we have, now, we can vote the way we vote here, but I don't like having city council subcommittee meetings at the full city council. So if we get the planning board recommendation, I have questions. Now we're at the full city council, and now we're going through your whole thing. We're having a subcommittee meeting with the whole thing filled. It turns into a logistical pain. I'd rather you just acquiesce to us having tabling this here in committee, because we are meeting here again on the 15th, and we will, as a city council, meet one more time before the session ends. So we meet on the 5th and then the 19th. Okay,
so if we continued it to the December 18th,
or whatever that date is, 18th, yeah.
December
Okay.
18th.
All right, so that would be my 2 cents on that score. Just one vote, but I mean, I respectfully request that, because I haven't seen anything, and it's not fair.
And when would the council meeting be, if I could ask?
So we would have this subcommittee would be meeting again on Monday, December 18th. And then we would refer it to the full council for the following day, so the 19th.
Perfect.
Okay, and then I heard what was said earlier, but you can ask the law department this or ask your own lawyer, but the ordinance says, a special permit issued pursuant to this section shall expire upon the applicant ceasing to own or occupy the subject premises, Paul. So though you had a special permit, your special permit expires once you depart. So there'd be a new special permit for Danielle and O'Connell. So we're not going into the existing permit. I just don't think that's, okay, so this is a whole separate deal.
Yeah.
All right, then the only other parts in this, Danielle, again, is just to, go through 8.4, which is, again, there's a lot, but it lays it all out. But I'm just going to go over a couple of things on here. One, there should be some architectural plans. There's always an issue about signage. There's always
That
an
was
issue.
included, the
Right.
signage.
Well, I don't have it in
Yeah,
here, so.
no, we
So
dropped it
what do you want me to
off.
tell you? So there's always an issue about, buffer, like hedges and all that. I know that street like the back of my hand. I think you're pretty well covered. Paul keeps a beautiful property. The back of the Goss and McLean is pretty well buffered, so I think you're in good shape. You're buffered next to the house, the abutter, which is Dave Yosta's house. So I think you're in pretty good shape as far as that goes. But nevertheless, you gotta make sure you look at it. Let me just keep going through here. No big alteration. You're not going to alter anything. There's no way. Attica Park, we talked about the parking. So we're good on that. You have a corner lot, so that's actually going to give you a little extra benefit relative to the whole thing about the vegetation and all that. So I don't think you have to worry about that. Private trash, you have your old dumpster back there, Paul?
Actually, we got a waiver back in 2004, so we have the city barrels on site that we use, and we don't really generate much. I don't know what they probably don't either.
You have City of Holyoke pickup?
Mm-hmm.
All right, good for you. Okay, okay, that works. And then we'd probably have to see a lease. Okay, so I don't have it's got to be something in writing.
We do have a letter from Mr. Gallagher.
I do see that, but and that's good, but it's not a lease. So
Just making sure you saw it. Of course.
So I saw Mr. Gallagher earlier this morning having a coffee. So he's I can tell he's all fired up. So look, I appreciate you coming in here. We want to support it, but right now I'm not prepared to vote on this. So because I just don't think I have all the information I need. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Bacon, you had your hand up. Do you still have a question or comment?
Well, yes and no. So
Okay.
I had some of my questions answered by Councilor Bartley's concerns, but I was wondering if there was a timing concern on the part of the applicant relative to moving into the space. And as part of that question, I was wondering if we could make a recommendation pending the planning board review.
Gotcha.
It's because it seems that the applicant submitted everything properly.
Yes, they did.
So those are my questions.
Okay. Do you want to,
That would be great.
is there,
The sooner the better.
okay. Councilor McGivern?
Thank you. To Councilor Bartley's points, I don't disagree with them, and yes, we need that planning board, which is not your fault, not our fault, and unfortunately, somewhere down the road, maybe we'll learn what happened, but it needs to be corrected, I understand that. But to my comments about the way I said it was, it's like a transfer of a special permit. This special permit and all special permits, come under the purview of the city council. But I did say, and I stand by my comments, this is unique. If you don't mind me asking Paul, Mr. Gallagher, you have a special permit overlay district granted to you when you went through all of this with the property. This is about property. Okay, commercial use in a residential neighborhood. We recognize the commercial use that's taken the place of Gallagher Real Estate. There's no questions there in my mind. This is not what the permit's about. It's about the property. Would you mind sharing with us how much money you've invested into the property?
Oh, I've probably put over 125,000 in over the course of ownership, and siding, roofing, windows, interiors, porches, parking areas. Completely redid the whole building.
Okay. And to me, that is what we should be protecting, because that original special permit worked. Even Councilor Bartley, I think we all agree, your property is immaculate, your property is correct, you've gone through all the stuff with the parking, you've gone through all the stuff with everything. We need to know a little bit about the sign, okay, but that's not major, but important, because it's part of the residential neighborhood. We don't want, and you don't have, well, maybe you do have some, but you don't have that daily visit from, clients and potential clients. You
No,
have.
clients never come to the office.
Okay.
Ever.
So when I say transfer of permit, zoning special permits are different than other special permits. We did one, earlier. We've done licenses. We've done different things that, and I get it, and I agree with David that the city council understanding this for the purpose of the neighborhood, for the purpose of the big picture of what this is, a residential neighborhood. But when someone invests $125,000 into a piece of property, I don't think they should be subject to lose that investment from a special permit hearing starting all over. I think you have to start the continuation, the change of scope, the change of who's going to be occupying the property, not the owner, but the occupant, and go from there. So that's why I see this as something that we need to protect, that $125,000 investment, knowing that the neighborhood residential character is still going to be protected. We don't have to question a reputable Hoyok in and out company, we'll call you. I can say that because I go way back with the founder. But we can, that's just my opinion. We can and should protect your investment. And when you look at the big picture, it's what's right for the neighborhood, what's right for the ownership, what's right for our ordinances, and it makes sense to me.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to have another question. When are you going before the planning board?
They haven't reached out to you.
I just looked and they don't have anything online as their next meeting scheduled.
We actually thought we initially were going to the planning board, and this is where we got.
Okay, then let me ask this. When are you anticipating moving to Northampton Street?
Whenever we can. We have a month-to-month lease right now, so we can. We're just.
The minute it's approved.
Yeah, we're waiting
and
for it to be
the special
approved.
permit's issued, they will take occupancy.
Okay, so, I mean, to me, that just reiterates emphasizes what I suggested. You're not even scheduled to go before the planning board. So why are we going to vote this out tonight and move to city council? I mean, to me, it makes no sense. So I think your best bet is to really get in tune with Mr. Burkott tomorrow morning and get on their very next agenda, which I would imagine would be a week from tomorrow. So if that doesn't work, then it'll be 2 weeks from tomorrow. So hopefully that'll go very smoothly, and then we'll get a recommendation from them, and we'll turn this around real fast. But I mean, if we're going to go in proper order, that's what we ought to do. Now, obviously, I want to support it. There's no question on my mind.
I just follow the direction of the clerk's office.
Yeah, and that's why.
That's why we ended up here.
Look, the clerk isn't an attorney. The clerk does what the clerk's supposed to do, provides the documentation. So you can't dump this on the clerk.
Well, I mean, in all fairness, I respect you guys did drop off the documents that you needed to. You were told that they were going to be sent to the planning board. They were not sent to the planning office.
I offered to bring them up, and they said they would take care of it.
So apologies in that sense for whoever dropped the ball on the city side. But,
Here we are.
here we are. I'll entertain a motion. If there's no one else, I don't see anyone else from the public. I don't see any other counselors.
Well, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Great.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
I'm going to make a motion to lay this on the table, and then when we meet in December, we'll figure it out.
Is there a second? Need a second.
Well, first we got to close the public hearing. Under discussion.
Wait, we just closed the public
No,
We
hearing.
just did.
You made a motion. Nobody voted.
We all voted.
Oh, we got to do a roll. Joe, we have to do the roll call.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
You got to discuss it.
Okay. So there was a second discussion?
If we close the public hearing, we can receive the recommendation of the planning board, but we cannot receive responses from the applicant.
Okay. So then, would you like to keep the public hearing open?
It really doesn't matter. I'll retract.
I'm not saying we should.
It doesn't matter. If we're going to come back here on
I'm
the
ready to
18th,
vote, but
Okay. All right, then,
I'll just make a motion to continue the public hearing to 6:30 PM on December 18th.
okay. Is there a second?
second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're going to take a roll call.
Oh.
Aye.
Madam Chair?
Counselor Bartley?
Yes.
Counselor McGivern?
Yes.
Counselor Bacon?
Yes.
Counselor Rivera?
Yes.
Counselor Murphy-Ramboletti? Yes. So we're continuing the public hearing, just to give you the opportunity, in case there's anything to respond to December 18th. And then that's it. We'll see you back here on the 18th.
In the meantime, just because, I don't know if you know the answer to this, well, it's our responsibility to go to plan, or it's going to get sent to planning, or should we follow up with planning?
So on our end, Jeffrey and I have been in communication with the planning department. I would recommend
Also.
following up with the planning department.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll just all make sure this gets taken care of.
Right.
And I appreciate your patience.
We love Holyoke.
Well, we want you to come back. I look forward to your visit every time, Paul.
Thank you
Dave.
both.
And you,
Yeah.
Danielle? New
Appreciate
person?
it. All right.
Okay. I'll make a motion to take item 5 off the table and open the public hearing.
All those in favor?
Second.
Aye. Great. Item number 5 is the special permit application for Camrac LLC, doing business as Enterprise Rent-A-Car, per 7.2.13 for rental of motor vehicles at 7 Cray Ave. I believe we are joined by a representative from the applicant. Yes. Welcome.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
can I raise a point of order? And can I go through you, ask Attorney Bissonette a question before we get, I want to hear we're going to hear the presentation, but I just want to ask Attorney Bissonette a question.
Of course. Attorney Bissonette, there he is.
Good evening,
Hi, Mike.
Counselor.
Mayor. Okay, Mike, on this one here, we're looking at 7.2.13 for rental of motor vehicles, which, listen, this is like a perfect lot for it. But my question for you, Mike, through the chair, obviously, is when I look at 7.2.13, outdoor sales lots for new and used motor vehicles and trucks and marine and recreational vehicles. So is this applicable to rental vehicles? So is that, I mean, it doesn't specify rental in this particular section of the code. So is there another section that's applicable relative to rental cars? So we know Marcotte's got rental cars. At some point, we must have gone through this with Marcotte, right? Had to have. And
Okay.
I mean, and I'm sure there's other dealers that have rental. I know Marcotte does because I've rented them myself, but I'm sure that there are other ones. So, I mean, I don't want to delay it anymore, but I just want to raise that as a question to you. I don't expect you to have an answer for me right now, but at some point, I just want to make sure that this is the right section of the ordinance relative to the rental car industry.
I'll be happy to check with planning on that. My initial thought would be just thinking about Marcotte and other dealerships that they may have asked for an interpretation of sales to include rentals as well. So we'll see what planning says about their interpretation of that particular word. If it is included as part of sales, then of course Enterprise would be entitled to that. But my distinction would be unless Enterprise is selling previously used rentals on that same lot, it wouldn't be applicable. it's just a standalone rental situation where they obtain vehicles that are parked somewhere else perhaps and drop them for their clients. So we'll look at the particulars and I'll talk to planning about it.
Thanks, Mike.
But I think the answer will lie with the interpretation of the word sales.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. So this is the special permit application. Are you Kevin?
I am Kevin Kolstad.
Hi, Kevin. So this was submitted by Kevin Kolstad. I'm just gonna read off your application. You mentioned the rental of motor vehicles, section 4.3, table of principal uses, commercial uses, number 13, motor vehicle rental. It asks here, will any other permits or vacancies be required? You mentioned no variances, but a permit for signage, which has not been applied for yet. So welcome. And we did send this to the planning board, health department, building department, fire department, conservation, Department of Public Works. I don't have anything from anyone that I'm aware of. So do you want to just give an overview of the application request?
Sure, I will. And just to address the comment about the use, I was working extensively with planning, reviewing the regulations, and this is where we landed in terms of where the use is. So it wasn't me randomly selecting that. It was working with planning to determine that this is where it should fall. Some communities do have a specific section for rental and lease, but this is where this one particularly landed. So not that you could check with planning, but that's pretty much what was told to me in any case. So we are proposing a car rental site at 7 Cray Avenue. You may or may not be familiar with Enterprise. We've find ourselves in many local communities. Currently, the two closest locations we have to this facility would be one in West Springfield and Riverdale Plaza, and then we have one in Chicopee that cover those communities. Currently, this region of Holyoke is being supported from West Springfield and from Chicopee, and we really felt that there was a need for having a location here in Holyoke to support the local businesses. And we are, just a little history of Enterprise, we're in the replacement business. So if your car goes in it has an automobile accident and you need to replace that car, we work with the body shops, we work with the insurance companies. Additionally, we will work with some of the local dealerships, smaller, bigger. So if you need a replacement vehicle for a day or two, we're there to supply those vehicles. And then additionally, you think of rental car companies. Someone needs a minivan to go on vacation because they need a bigger vehicle, or they just don't rely on their car. They'll rent vehicles from us. So mainly we're going to support the Holyoke community with this particular site. So a couple of things about the site. So there will be an office environment where a customer can come and visit the site. A transaction will be created, and then they can rent a car from us. We do provide services such as dropping vehicles off, picking customers up at their homes, et cetera, in the community. And then lastly, the site will have a bay that will allow us to service the vehicle from a cleaning perspective, nothing else, nothing other than that, where we could pull a car into a bay, vacuum it, wash the exterior, and then pull it out and have it ready for a customer to rent from us. Again, no services are done at this site in terms of oil changes, things like that. We use local shops to do that stuff, and if it's under warranty, you'll go to a local dealership, et cetera. The site, as you know, is currently auto sales to the right of us. So I think it's a really good fit in terms of the combined auto use for that particular block. I guess I'll just zip up and let you guys ask questions.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Just procedural.
Sure.
Kevin, are you presenting a map to us this evening?
A map?
Yeah.
I brought a site plan which I submitted to the council, so I don't know if you have that or not.
Well, that's why I'm asking. We don't have it.
Nope.
Okay.
No.
Sorry. I'm looking at that and I'm saying,
I submitted copies as requested.
To the clerk's office?
Yep, I sure did.
Madam Chair, just a quick point. Kevin, could you just state your name and your address, just so we have it, please?
Sure, I didn't know everyone else wasn't doing that. So Kevin Colstead, and I'll give the business address, 8 El Grasso Turnpike, Windsor Locks, Connecticut, 06096.
Thank you.
the reason I asked for I'm sorry.
That's the only question I had, Joe, for right now.
It's just not too big to scan, so that's why it wasn't in your hand. This is what keeps
That's okay. As long as we have it, because Mass General Law says anything you give to us in a public hearing, we have to keep, not that, but we have to keep,
Yeah.
we have to have a copy.
And I've got smaller versions.
Well, we can keep that, but I don't
Come on,
think
Joe.
he wants to give it to us.
I've got smaller versions too.
Do you?
I do, yeah. Here. Just make sure this,
Now,
oh, that's really small.
Get in line.
That's,
You're
Kevin,
right.
we're all set. I mean. Sure? Yeah, I don't think, well, I'll take one.
Thank you. Thank
That's
you.
what we got here. I think. Now we got two. How's this? Everybody, Jenny, can you see?
Joe, you know this whole thing like your back in hand. I know you do.
Hey, including the package store.
I know you do. I know you've been there, Joe.
Are you familiar with the site? Is it, I mean, because I have a picture of the site. I don't know if.
I mean, we can bring you back to the barber shop.
I
that
could
was
give
the
you the
original
whole
Mix Fest.
history of everyone who's ever owned it.
We can tell you the whole thing.
Don't forget AAA.
The Craze Package Store. Jenny doesn't remember that one, do you? You do.
There was a package store in there?
Yes. That's down behind, but it was part of the property that Mr. Elfman bought. The house, the package store was in
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
deterioration.
Yep,
And
yep.
then there was two houses going back there.
Yep. Yep.
So,
Go
I don't want to jump ahead, but
Councilor McGivern,
at some
go for
point,
it.
I don't know if there's anybody from the public. There's nobody in chambers, obviously. Parking, can you just walk us through parking, how many parking spots you need, how many vehicles you keep on site, how that works with the auto sales business that, kind of overlaps. I know it's next door, but it also
Sure.
overlaps a little bit.
Sure, yeah. We anticipate probably having 10 to 15 vehicles there at any one time. And our business model runs on a really high utilization, 90 plus percentile, meaning they're not making money if they're sitting. So we don't sit on a lot of inventory. And when I give you that number, it's, there's that number would be in a transition period where a lot of our cars, just a little more history. I'm giving you more history than you probably care to. A lot of our vehicles go out on Monday and then they come back on Friday. And whether that's a 15 or 30-day rental, it could be one of because people don't know, shops work, but shops try to get the cars completed on a Friday. And so what you have is this transition, and then we do a lot of business on the weekends for people traveling. And so you have this transition of a car coming back, being prepped and cleaned, and then going back out for the weekend. And that's our model. We run at a really high utilization rate. So I don't always have a lot of inventory sitting. And if I did, there's neighboring sites, which I already mentioned in my initial introductory, that we can move the vehicles to because they're going to use them because they don't sit.
The right or wrong, the special permit that you've been pointed to apply for.
Sure.
And have applied for.
Yep.
Requires us to have the map that tells us where you're going to park 15 vehicles.
Yep.
And requires us to put 15 vehicles on your permit, which has to be displayed on the property. So if a police officer or an enforcement officer comes by with a complaint that there's too many vehicles on this property, they see what's allowed.
Got it.
And can immediately determine if, on the weekend, too many vehicles came back and you just threw them in a space.
Sure.
I'm not saying that's a problem, but it's in used cars is what you're applying for. You're not, obviously I don't think you're dealing with used vehicles, the same nature. This becomes, it isn't a problem on this particular place. but it is a problem in other places in the city where
Yeah.
parking, used car lots become junk car lots.
Yeah, in our lease with Ira, he'd be silly to
I understand.
do that.
Yes.
That's what he deals
Yeah,
with, so.
but because the planning board gave the direction that this is the only way to do it, it kind of puts us in a position where we're literally granting you a used car lot application, permit.
Yeah, and I listen, if you wanted to stipulate that I couldn't sell cars, I have no issue with that. Again, I don't know if you can do that, but I have no issue with.
Sure we can.
Yeah, you can do that all day long, because it's not gonna impact me one way or the other. I'm not doing that, so.
Where would the office be? Is
Here,
it
I have a
the old Highland Rose right in front? Yeah.
It's gonna be beautiful.
Most recently.
So if you, that's looking at the front of the building.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at the building. Sorry, so if you're looking at the building, the bay, if I'm looking at this right, yeah, so the bay would be here, but it would, the door is actually on the back side, so that you won't see it, so that won't change at all. Some of this, and I can show you what the front's, this will change a little bit in terms of what's here. It'll be storefront glass, and then there'll be a storefront window there. A new entrance, ADA accessibility would go right into here, essentially. And I have that, I could show you the glass for that, but, so really the office ends up in here, but you're gonna enter right here, if that makes sense.
No, it does.
You'll just kind of get directed, you kind of see this little hallway, you get directed to this main spaces where my employees would be sitting, et cetera.
But may I ask, then your parking is actually on the rear of the building?
There's a few in the front. And
You're going to ask them in the front?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a few in front, and then it's behind here. Yep. Yep.
No, well, I know, but, those spaces already have been granted to the auto sales.
Okay.
I mean, if he's leasing to you, he's obviously going to get his cars out of there, but they're on a permit. Because he amended his permit when he bought the property.
Yep, understood.
And he told us it'd be temporary.
Yep.
And my wife is crying right now, and as so many people, because, I did most of my Christmas shopping in that building. The cottage,
You can still do Christmas
Highland
shopping.
Rose. I'm not getting her a rental car.
You can get gift cards.
She buys the cars from Ira.
Perfect.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right. Councilor Bartley.
Well, let me just preface this, Kevin, I couldn't agree with you anymore. The site location that you and Ira have derived could not be any better, in my opinion, for the type of business that you want to run. And again, that makes us very proud as a vote we took several years ago relative to Ira and his permit. And Councilor McGivern and myself and a few others, that was I believe it was a unanimous vote, but nevertheless, there was a lot to it, and Ira made the investment, and he's been nothing but a great corporate partner to the city of Holyoke. So we obviously greatly appreciate that. Of course, he's a Holyoke guy anyhow, and all the rest of that as member. Your corporation. So you're a franchisee? You'll be DBA Enterprise. How's that going to work?
So the permit's under Camrec LLC, and under that LLC, we cover 75% of Connecticut. We cover the 91 corridor, so we run from the Connecticut-Mass border all the way up to the Vermont border on the 91 corridor, and then we also cover Rhode Island from that Camrec LLC. So it's a pretty decent-sized LLC, and it's not franchised. No, we're a privately held company.
Okay, you're private. Okay, and you're a registered foreign corporation already. So that's obviously you're a sophisticated company. So I'm not shocked that you're registered, but that's I check on anyhow. So
yep, sure.
And the zoning is proper because it's zone BH, so that fits within this as well. So that's helpful. The rest of it, I'm not 100% because this does not. I mean, we do get special permit applications relative to used and new motor vehicle dealers, but I can't recall ever getting one for a rental car dealer, and I've only been here 12 years, but I just don't recall one coming in, although it must have happened. So a couple of things I'm just going to run through this with you. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. So there's supposed to be, proper curbing and all that to prevent encroachment. I think that's all in there. If I'm going on recollection. So the number of cars, you told Councilman Given 15?
I gave a range of 10 to 15, yeah.
10 to 15, okay. So that is set by ordinance to how many car lots, how many cars you can have on a particular lot, depending upon the size.
Sure.
So there's no way I'm going to be able to run that calculation in my head, but there's something like about, one car for every 310 square feet. It's something along those lines. I mean, I'm going on memory, which is horrible. So, so you have the sales area and you divide it by 310, and that's supposed to come up with a max number of cars you can have on the lot. And I think that's inclusive of employees as well. So you're going to have to verify that with
planning
and the building commissioner too.
Sure.
I would imagine.
Sure.
Now, is this this is going before the planning board? I would presume. Am I presuming correctly or incorrectly?
I don't know that it is.
I don't know that it is either, because you're not applying for a repair license.
Correct.
Okay, so I don't know if you have to go before them or not.
I don't think we do.
Okay,
but they're obviously, they need to obviously stamp and approve what we're doing here. But you're right. To my knowledge, we're not going before planning. This was going before you, and this is. I didn't even know that this is the route that we had to go, because he said I was thinking I was going in front of planning, which is pretty normal. And he said, no, you're going before the city council. I said, okay.
Oh, it's a lot more fun here.
Yeah.
let me tell you, you'll enjoy this group more than you would ever enjoy planning this. But I'm prejudiced, obviously. Okay, I'm sure I'll get a kickback for that, but it's okay. Signage, that's all a big thing. Lighting, that's a really huge thing. So it's all laid out in the ordinance as well. So the whole thing about special permits and zone change, parking, noise, traffic, lights.
Sure.
Parking, noise, traffic, lights. So parking, looks like you're going to have to make sure that number's right. The noise, you're not going to have a noise factor. What are your business hours going to be?
We are open from, we'll say 7:30 to 5 on Monday through Friday, and Saturday 9 to 12, and then closed on Sundays.
Closed on Sundays?
Sure.
Okay, so those, just say the hours again, Kevin. Monday through Friday.
Yep. No, I want to make sure I put I'm giving you the right hours.
Okay, so go right in the permit. So you might want to get it right.
Put 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then that's Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
And then
on. Suggestion?
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Joe.
Can we put like 5:30 because someone's late bringing their car, something happens.
Sure.
5:30. Why don't we say 7 to 6? There you're covered. Okay, so 7
to 6.
You don't have to be,
You don't have to be open, but
no, I understand.
7 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Monday through Friday, Saturday 9 to 12 noon, and Sunday we are closed.
Closed. Okay. And now, say you wanted to amend that, you just file another petition.
Yeah.
And you come in and ask us, and I can't imagine that being a high hurdle. I can't even imagine it. So that's just a thought for down the road. But okay. All right. Hold on a second. Okay, 2 spaces for every. How many employees are we going to have?
2 to 3.
2 to 3 at any one time.
Yep.
Or okay, that's great, and that's really exciting because that's just more employment opportunities. So we love to hear that, and those are good starter jobs for a lot of people.
Oh yeah,
really
absolutely.
gives professional experience in dealing with the public.
Yep.
And that is. Could be invaluable. So there could be a nice career path for somebody. Okay, you're going to have a bulk waste container on site?
We're proposing we're not going to generate much trash, but we're proposing a 96 tote that would put on
Okay, so that right there, you'd have to get a waiver or something from which I don't think that's unreasonable, but that would be from the Board of Public Works. So normally they don't pick up. You heard the one exception earlier, Mr. Gallagher. And there are exceptions, of course, and it's Holyoke, so God only knows where these exceptions rest. But the Board of Public Works will be able to guide you on that. I mean, they're picking up collections that on all of Northampton Street on whatever day they come over there. So I don't think that's off the wall that they could pick up your 96-gallon container.
So the trash is,
Well, it's public, but no, this ordinance says it's supposed to be private, under which you're applying.
okay,
But, to me, if you're going to generate next to nothing,
right.
so you might as well see if you can apply for a waiver to the Board of Public Works and to have the DPW pick up your trash and recyclables.
Okay.
I don't think that's off the wall, so, all right, so, all right, and we're not gonna have any, I know you're not gonna have auto parts or anything like that outside the building.
No.
Okay, all right, all right. Okay, so the way I see it, the only, if someone, we pass, so someone we close the public hearing, and then we take a vote. A couple of things I'm going to suggest as contingencies to the permit are, one, that we talked about, the hours of operation, as we just described, and B, that there would mandate no auto sales. Okay, and you're not interested in doing that anyhow. So that's that. And then I think you also said there would not be any auto repairs, but you would want to have cleaning or detailing or whatever. And right next door, of course, Ira's shop, they're famous for their detailing anyhow. So that might all work out for you. So I'll probably so you'd be okay with all those conditions.
What's the last condition?
That you would not have a repair.
Oh, absolutely, that's no issue there.
Yeah, and that we would allow under this permit for you to have cleaning the cars and all that on site. So you'd be good to go with that.
Yes.
Okay, there you go. That's all I got.
Okay, Councilor McGivern?
Just on the parking, I think we're all set. Kevin, is it a one-car bay or a two-car bay?
One car bay.
Okay. You actually count that as one of your parking spots. Okay.
You can, sure.
And then if I'm looking out front with a little bit of adjustment and looking out back, including employees, you've got enough for 15 cars easy.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay, and then that should work. There's a little trick to this. I'm pretty sure Craze Avenue is not an accepted street. It's not that, and which means
It's not.
Ira actually owns half the street.
He does.
He's not leasing it to you, but Ira owns it. So the only person that can complain about on-street parking is Ira on that side of the street, or the new owner of Mobile on the other side of the street, which I think, and there's still plenty of options in the back of Craze Avenue if Ira wishes to open something up for overflow. So I think the solutions are there. Do you have any objections if we put the 15 cars on the permit on the site?
On that site that
Yeah.
I'm showing in the no,
Yeah.
no issue.
Okay.
Actually, I just have two more things.
Sure, Councilor.
One is, when are we hopeful to start business?
There's no, so we have to pull the building permit, and we'll start work, and then as soon as the construction's done, we'll open. So,
And how'd you find the site?
Ira actually does business with us in terms of buying used cars. And so he actually reached out to one of our salesmen who visits him, to buy cars, and he said, "Hey, I think I have a spot for you guys." And that was the introduction, and that's where it went.
It really is a perfect location in my humble opinion. The last point is, of course, that's Route 5, so there's no standing parking on Route 5. So your customers are, you want to make sure that that's kind of expressed to your customers. They can't pull up and park on Route 5 and run into the building and all that. They have to pull off the street.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, understood.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Any other questions?
If I could, just,
Councilor
and
McGivern?
Councilor Bartley brought it up, and I should have said it at the last hearing, is the waiver for trash is based on cubic trash per week. DPW won't pick up commercial property unless the property meets the waiver criteria, which is the amount of trash that we put out every week. And in that, this 96-gallon drum is new, but I'm sure that's either is or will be incorporated into the ordinance for commercial pickup. And They're pretty strict about it. They'll let you know if you qualify. And
So if I don't, then I just hire an outside.
then you would have to hire outside, doesn't, whether it's a dumpster or whichever, it would have to be.
Yeah, the totes, but yeah,
Yeah.
understood.
There's other ways to do it, but you have to have, private pickup.
Yeah, got it, understood.
So I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
There's nobody online, right?
No one online, no one in
You need a roll call?
the, Counselor Bartley?
Yep.
Counselor McGivern?
Yes.
Counselor Murphy-Ramboletti, yes. Counselor Rivera?
Yes.
Counselor Bacon?
Yes,
And I'll make a motion that we recommend granting the special permit subject to the following conditions. One is the 15 cars on the lot. Joe has to amend that.
15 cars on the lot, which would include your employee parking,
So
also counting the bay.
So no more than 15 cars on the lot, but the bay is included too. So second off, that the hours of operation will be Monday through Friday, hours of 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturdays, hours of 9 a.m. to noon, and Sundays closed. 3 is that the contingent upon no auto repairs on site. And fourthly, that we allow the petitioner to use the bay for purposes of cleaning the interior and exterior of the vehicles that they're renting.
Okay.
So those are it.
Question?
Did you miss the car sales? I don't know if I heard that.
no sales.
So no, did I say
Oh, did
no?
you say no? Did you say sales? I'm sorry, I missed it. If
I know, we're granting a permit for car sales and we're saying no sales.
Well,
That's gonna look great. No,
I just wanted to make
yeah, well, I gotta deal with the hand I'm dealt, so.
Yeah. I have no auto repairs on the site.
No car sales on the site, no,
Yeah, that's it.
no, and but we are permitting that the petitioner can use the bay to clean the interior and exterior of the rental cars.
And if needed, it can be counted as one of those 15 parking spaces.
Yep.
If needed.
Well, there's a lot of parking there, so I can't imagine it being a problem.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, I'm gonna do a roll call vote. Counselor Bartley?
Yes.
Counselor McGivern?
Yes.
Counselor Rivera?
Yes.
Counselor Bacon?
Yes,
Counselor Murphy-Ramboletti, yes. So that is approved 5-0 on those conditions that were mentioned. And so this will be referred to the full city council tomorrow night. And then we'll vote on that tomorrow and go from there.
I don't need to be present tomorrow, I assume? No, okay.
Thanks.
Well, again, it's a good civics lesson. I don't know why people don't come up more.
I know. All right. Thank you,
Thank
Kevin,
you
for
all.
being
Thank
here.
you and good luck.
We
Motion
appreciate
to
your
adjourn.
time. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh,
aye.
aye, okay. What is the difference? I'll never know.